right, welcome y'all. This will be a totally different type of video and different content that I usually feel drawn to, but I saw this beautiful girl on YouTube and she made this video that totally inspired me because I thought it was so cool how she described her journey on YouTube and how her first 500 subscribers changed her life. And I heard this other guy say that truly with every 500 subscribers, your paradigm will shift. And I can really confirm that. And so I thought that for a lot of y'all that are thinking about creating your own YouTube channel, this could be really inspirational. Because I get it, right? When we have certain influencers or people that we watch, coaches, whoever, and they have 100,000 or even 1 million followers, it can be very tough to start. It can feel almost a little embarrassing or pathetic, and we're like, what the fuck, right? I don't even know where to start. So we know that when we have big goals, we have to break them down into little chunks so it doesn't feel overwhelming. And so if we look at people we admire but they have a super large following, it kind of gets hard to identify with them or listen to their advice when it comes to YouTube or any platform, right? Because we're like, yeah, but they're so far ahead. So I think it's really important that the mini influencers with big impact, like moi, talk about our journey here on YouTube. And I think that's why these videos are so cool, because they celebrate the little wins and they show us that these tiny stepping stones are actually massive changes in our lives, and to not focus on the big goal, but the journey. So this is why I'm here. Also, it's my 1-year anniversary on YouTube, so I think it's perfect timing to make this video. So let's start off with why I even started on YouTube, like what got me to start and create my channel. And there are many different reasons, but one of the main reasons was to tell life that I'm officially in business. Let's get real. If you have a business, but no one is able to find you or no one knows about you, you don't really have a business. So one of the main reasons was to get out there and share my teachings. I'm a teacher at heart. I'm an investigator at heart, and I got really good at solving my really big problems. And so I wanted to share that with you because I know that who I am now is who I desperately needed 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, if my past me needed my advice, I'm pretty sure that a lot of you could benefit from my life experience and the way I navigate life and the problems that I've solved, because I came really fucking far. It's still quite humble, but who I was, what I went through, and how my life is unfolding now is almost like unimaginable for a past version of me. So I wanted to inspire other people with my journey, which I feel like is the reason for most of us. We want to inspire, we want to ignite, we want to like be the reason why someone else remembered their own God spark, their own cosmic spark. So that is really why I'm here. I also just love to nerd out on my problem solving. Like when I find something, when I find a limiting belief within me, I find a blind spot within me, I can feel trauma knocking on my door, I love to dissect it to the core. And that makes me a really good teacher. And I'm also a freaking good student. Like, and a good student is always a good teacher. So another one is community. I wanted to build a community of strong women that do the inner work legitimately, because our healing is not only an individual thing, it's a collective and co-creative effort. And so we truly need each other to do the heavy lifting, to really move the heavy stuff for the collective. And I knew that at some point I had to show up to bring the women together. And I know that the women who resonate with me, they are made of a certain just a certain essence there. There's just a certain badassery and a certain warriorsness in them. And I know that we can do the work together. Let me get into the highlights, the wins, and the triumphant moments of my last year and my journey here on YouTube, because there were many. And at this point, I think I have 720 something followers. It's 724. I just acted like I didn't know the number. 724 to be exact. And I'm learning to not focus on that and to not give an F about it, but I still do, and that's okay. But one of the greatest things was to be able to generate $20,000. Monetization is a super important metric to see if I'm speaking to the right audience, or if I'm speaking to my audience in the right way, and if I'm having an impact. And to be able to generate 20K with less than 500 subscribers is a really beautiful evidence for me that I'm making an impact. I'm creating an impact. Now, to be clear, it's not YouTube that paid me, but that money was generated through my active offerings, through my inner healing systems, through my one-on-one work that I did with a lot of you, which leads me to my next big highlight, the intimate work. Like, yo, that is wild. The intimate work that I got to facilitate with so many of you has been my greatest highlight. The money is just like a physical representation for that. That's why I love to bring it up. And also, it's really cool to see that in the first year of business, that's what you can generate. And I know a lot of coaches will tell you, you can make millions in your first business, but from my own experience, give it some time. It'll probably take 2 years for you to actually be able to sustain yourself with your business. So don't quit your job, right? Allow yourself some grace. And so for me, this is a cool metric that, okay, with 500 subscribers, I was able to do this. What am I going to be able to do with double of that, or triple of that, or quadruple of that, or 10K and 100,000K? So this is just a really cool glimpse into the future. And if it goes that way and it continues that way, which it will, because I decided so, that's really awesome. Just facts. It's really cool that I get to create and generate money with my purpose work. Shit, this makes me cry right now. Man. Because it's been such a rough journey, and to be able to be here, and yes, it's so humble, right? For some, this is nothing, but man, my mom had to like work her ass off for that same amount. So let's, you know, it's cool to put things into perspective and to see that we live in an age of technology where we're able to do this from home on the side with my fucking phone propped up, and that's about it, right? Me, you, and my phone. Oof. Thank you, life. And so in that, the same reverence I feel for that is the same reverence that I feel for all of you and the work that I'm able and allowed to do. Because when I get together with all of you, it gets really deep and really intimate. And when I say intimate, I mean vulnerable. Like, any of you who worked with me, I meet you heart to heart. Like, there's no mask, there's no filter, there's no bullshit. It's my heart meeting your heart, your essence. And when our hearts meet, miracles happen. And so the biggest highlight is to be able to meet so many of you in such an intimate way. Like, the amount of reverence I have for that is very hard for me to put into words, and maybe I will stop crying at some point in this video. I had the honor to speak with at least 30 of you, and a lot of you I worked with very intimately and over a period of time. So I feel like the collective healing that we all co-created here is massive, and that is definitely one of my highlights, like for sure. I can't even describe how grateful I am for that. With that, literally every woman that I met through YouTube is part of my soul monad, is part of my inner circle, like soul tribe, and that is really wild to me. Like, I knew at some point I had to create to attract more of my tribe, but how fast that happened and how aligned and to the point the women I attracted are is just wild. Like, every single woman I work with is an oracle herself. And when powerhouses come together, there is just freaking magic that happens. So what I'm telling you is that the moment you start to show up as the real you, you will attract other real ones, right? Because real recognizes real, and that has been definitely one of my highlights. I feel like I made lifelong friends already over YouTube, and the women here have become my supportive system, like my own support net. Because again, when we do this deep inner work and this deep collective planetary healing work, we need a grid, we need support. And so already I have like women all over the world that are this grid, this crystal grid in their own continent or country. And so it's like we're connecting, and we're allowing the healing to happen and distribute the healing. And it's like we're these pillars of light in different countries, and it's just wild. And another highlight has been the rebirth healing system that has been created through that. I call it a mystery school because I don't have a name for it yet, but this is where we come together in the most intimate way for 9 months to really establish a whole new energetic blueprint and do the deep work. And that, for that system to come through, that has been like one of the greatest things. And yeah, honestly, I could go on and on. Like, there's so much beauty that transpired. Whew. And it hits a little deeper right now as I'm sharing it and speaking about it. And with that, I do want to talk about the challenges, because there definitely have been some challenging aspects to that. And one of the greatest challenges was to get over my fear, get over my insecurities, get over my awkwardness in front of the camera, because I can guarantee you what I'm recording now and how I show up in front of the camera now and how home I feel on the seat and in front of the camera, regardless of who's watching or who isn't watching, it wasn't always like that. Like, this journey started off really freaking awkward. It started off with at least 100 videos that no one will ever see, and honestly, years of preparation. And that's why you can see in the first videos I'm showing up totally differently. I was insecure, I was self-conscious. I'm like, oh shit, my face is asymmetrical, or that wrinkle is showing up, or oh, that isn't good lighting, or that was stupid what I just said. And to really get over myself was a big challenge. And to keep going, even though what I recorded wasn't what I wanted to birth. Like, that has been probably one of the biggest challenges. I love perfectionism, right? Because perfectionism in itself is just the desire to improve and evolve. But for some of us, perfectionism can be really crippling. And in the beginning, it was very paralyzing for me, because I could tune into this future version of me that brought through this golden content that really created impactful, high quality, super beautiful, fancy content. And while I could tune into that reality, that wasn't where I was. So it can be really frustrating to like feel into the potential of the future and still work with what's happening right now, because facts were, well, my background didn't look the way I wanted it to. I didn't have the equipment that I would want to, and my words didn't translate my thoughts as well as I thought they would. So there was something that lived in my heart, and it just felt like I couldn't translate it. Like a lot of times there was something so meaningful and I just couldn't hit it home. And that was definitely one of the biggest challenges, to be okay with producing shit so you can get to the goal. And I'm not saying that, you know, the first content was absolute dog ass, but it also wasn't, you know, what I wanted it to be. And so the challenge was to learn to be imperfectly perfect. Another big challenge was definitely to move through this instant gratification thing, because I do put a lot of work and a lot of heart into my teachings, and sometimes I sit with them for a whole week. I contemplate, I write out a template, I rewrite the template, I sit with it, I allow my essence and my higher self to transform it. And there's a lot of energy and a lot of me that goes into these videos. So to then see that some videos get like 150 views, it is a little discouraging at times. But that again taught me how to put things into perspective. Because yes, 150 views might not seem like much, or it might seem a little discouraging. But if you filled a room with 150 people, and you had a live audience of 150 people, and they would listen to you intently for an hour, and that hour-long speech might even transform just one life, it would be fucking worth it. Like even the tiny concerts I visited, like I remember Miguel used to be one of my favorite artists, and he showed up at this little tiny spot somewhere in the Netherlands, and he maybe had like literally 100 people in the crowd. And till this day, that night was one of the most beautiful nights of my life because of this intimate concert. And he traveled the freaking world to show up for these 100 people. We get to do this now here live on the internet with just our phone, and feel the reverence for the 150 views that I have. And even if from these 150 views, maybe just 70 watch the whole thing, it doesn't matter. 70 people listened to me and were inspired by me, or were maybe even transformed by my words. That's a lot. Let me get into the learning lessons, because through this, I learned to just let it be imperfect. Because literally every time I recorded a video, I'm like, that was dope, that was a banger. And then I re-listened to it or edited it, and I'm like, yo, that was shit. And being okay with just posting the shit, because I learned that, okay, it will take time for the stuff to come out, for your first layers to just come out so the gold can come through. If you are a coach or a teacher, YouTube will help you to solidify your teachings and make them yours. Because with all of the content I created, the teachings that first felt like, oh, I'm copying and pasting them, or I got them from someone else, I infused them with my experience, and over time, they became uniquely mine. It's almost like something that lived in the ethers. I'm now pulling it through my whole energetic system into the root chakra by creating a teaching around it, by speaking about it. And it has evolved me so much more, because I go through life with so much more awareness. Another thing I learned was to just be disciplined. I told myself in the beginning of this YouTube journey that I would post a video every single week. And looking at it now, I think I'm at 49 videos. So I came pretty close, and it showed me the power of consistency and discipline. So if I have one advice for you, just get started, like truly. And I'm usually not a fan of, oh, you're ready now, because especially for the work that I do, I work with the subconscious, and I don't believe in this whole like, oh, you're ready now. There's a lot of responsibility in some of the things that we do. But when it comes to content creation, you are always ready now. because it'll take you some time to just get the kinks out. Start now, regardless of how professional or not professional your backdrop is. Start now, even if you don't have a vision, even if you don't yet have a product, because I can guarantee you one thing: your future self already has a vision, even if you can't tune into that yet. Your future self has a product, even if you can't feel into that yet. Your future self has a service, an offering, something to gift to humanity or to your community, even if you can't tap into it yet. And the sooner you start with just speaking out whatever is on your heart, again, the sooner your vision can come to you, the sooner your perfect product can come to you, the sooner your community can find you. Even if that means that your first videos, your first content is gonna be awkward as fuck, it doesn't matter. Now, of course, I'm gonna plug my products. If you need help in creating that vision, I have a 30-day superior creation system that will merge your current version with your future version so you can create this vision. And if that was helpful, if you like me, if you like the vibes here, like and subscribe. I fucking love to welcome you. I'm sorry guys, I'm learning not to swear, but it's really hard for me because that's just what comes through. But I am lovingly and graciously inviting you into this community. I would love to have you, because I know if you're watching, you're a badass, because I tend to attract badass women. So I love you so much. Leave in the comment section if that inspired you or whatever you learned from it. And I see you hopefully next week if I can make